Welcome back to House of Who.
What's up everybody? As you may have guessed by reading the title of this video, I'm about to start making a wooden Squid Game frontman mask. Now I have to admit, I'm not actually 3D printing wood, I'm actually 3D printing PLA filament which has wood fibres within it. There's quite a few different manufacturers that make these wood filaments, and they actually make quite a few different variants such as bamboo and walnut, along with a heap of different other ones. But today I'm using the brand 3D Phillies because that's who I use for a lot of my filament, and it's their natural wood variant. Now with at least the wood filament that I'm using, when it comes straight off the printer it doesn't really look like wood, or fake wood at the very best, but with a little bit of post-processing you can get it looking like this. So this is a phone holder that I made for my phone, which is a OnePlus. Just download the file off Thingiverse, I think it was, print it out, same process as what I'm doing behind me, and just put some wood stain on it. Gave it a bit of a sand in between as well, and it actually reasonably looks like wood now. So this is the process I'm going to be showing you on today's episode, just on the Squid Games mask behind me. As you can see, I've already got the print up and running, and this is my kind of dodgy GoPro setup, so hopefully I'll be able to show you a time lapse of the mask coming together, if that all works out for me. Now before any of you comment about all the stringing, yes I know it's not perfect. I've literally just used the factory or the default PLA setting in Prusa Slicer. Haven't done any tests with this filament at all, just whacked it in and hit print. So yeah, I think it's going pretty good considering the actual print quality's quite good. It's just a bit of stringing, so it's really no big deal, especially since we'll be sanding a lot of the surfaces to make them all nice and smooth. Now for a few of the print settings on the printer, I'm actually printing this mask at 0.24mm layer heights, and that's because when you start post-processing the item that you're printing, the larger layer lines actually make the print actually look more like wood. So if anything, 0.24mm layer height is probably a little bit too low. You could probably go up even a bit higher, maybe 0.3, and I reckon it'd probably make it look a bit better. This printer I actually dedicate to keeping a 0.6mm nozzle on, just so I can do bigger prints a bit quicker. And also some manufacturers recommend to have a larger than 0.4mm nozzle, just so that there's less chance of the wood filament actually clogging your nozzle. I'll hopefully send you off to check out a cool time lapse of this thing being printed, and I'll check back in with you when it's all done. Here we are the next day, and as you can see the mask is all complete. So we'll just pull it off the print bed now, whack it up on the table. I'll now pop it off the sheet. Oof, look at the back of that. Looks like a bloody hairy gorilla back there. Start pulling all the supports off. Come off in one piece, that's nice. Beautiful. They pulled off alright. I won't bother boring you with any more support removal. So I'll now head over to the workshop and we'll start sanding it up. As you can see, I'm in the workshop, and that's purely because I just didn't want to make a big mess in my office with all the sanding that I'm about to do on this mask. Now, as for the sandpaper I'm going to be using, I've got some 240 grit here, which will work nicely. Everyone knows that wood usually looks like wood because it has a grain. Well, 3D printing unfortunately doesn't have a grain. However, what it does have is a layer. And in the case of something this size, it has a hell of a lot of layers, which means that the layers are now going to become our grain. Now, to try and avoid messing up the layers with the sanding, I'm going to sand in the direction of what the layers are. This will obviously depend on which orientation you actually print your object in. So in my case, it was printed up like this, so I'll be sanding across like that. So bear with me for a minute while I get all this sanding done. Well, I'm glad that's over. I've sanded the inside just quickly, just to remove all the gorilla hair from in there. Now, I haven't completely sanded this smooth, so you can still see some of the layer lines, some of the imperfections. Because just remember, kids, imperfection is perfection. Also, don't forget to sand your eye grid thingamajigs. So they'll obviously be going in now. But before I throw them in, I'll just blow all this off with compressed air, then we'll get to gluing these in. So to gluing these in, I just use some Loctite 406, whatever I've got lying around really, it's just super glue. Yeah, so we'll just stick them in and we'll go from there. Starting to look better now that the eye infill pieces are in. Now, a tip for young players is you can see that I've actually slanted these eye pieces down towards the center. So as you can see, they're not actually level, they actually slant down, which is pretty cool. Makes the mask look a hell of a lot meaner. Now it's time to put some stain on. So what I'm using is this Cabot's interior stain, water-based, and apparently it's walnut. Yeah, that's about all I know about this because I'm definitely not a wood person, but you can obviously use heaps of whatever brand you want. Yeah, different colors or whatever you want to call that. Yeah, there's just so many different options. You can choose whatever you like and whatever suits your needs. Now, I haven't actually worked out the best way to apply this yet. I've tried with a brush and I've got average results. It works, but it's nothing fancy. What seems to work the best for me is just getting some paper towel and using that. So just scraping it across with the stain on it. So I'll go ahead and show you how that comes up after I glove up. The mask is fully finished now, and here it is. I decided to put a second coat of stain on it just so that I can change the colour a bit. So obviously the more stain you put on, the darker it gets, and I think that looks pretty damn cool. To secure it on your head, I just put some elastic around the back, just around the loopholes which are in the print on the side there. Unfortunately I didn't have any black, so white it was. What I love about projects like this is the fact that there's just no rulebook. You can do whatever the hell you want. I've shown you how I've done this, but that's not to say it's the right way or even the best way. You can try so many different things with this wood filament, like different layer heights, positioning your print in different orientations, using different stains, putting different amounts of coats of stain on your print, sanding it or not sanding it, or possibly even using coarser sandpaper to try and give it more texture. There's just so many different possibilities. If you made it this far, hopefully you enjoyed the video. So if you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.